Good evening, everybody, and welcome 2 nights in a row. It's my World Cup of James Bond movies tonight. Thank you very much if you're joining me. I have no idea how this is going to go because those of you that tune in regularly will know that this is something very different to what I normally do. All right, there might be the odd mention of Paul McCartney and Live and Let Die, but other than that, we're on a James Bond theme tonight. It's a World Cup. If anybody hasn't joined me for one of my World Cups before, let me just explain briefly how this is going to go. I've done a draw, a knockout-style draw. We've got 25 James Bond movies. Now, I'm not including the unofficial ones such as the 1967 Casino Royale, and I'm not including Sean Connery's Never Say Never Again because they're not proper Bond movies as far as I'm concerned. They're not here. It's the 25 official Eon production movies. Knockout draw, we're going to whittle them down, we're going to see who wins, and I'm going to be doing polls so that you can vote yourself, and you'll be voting the winners through each time. So, good evening, everybody who's knocking around. It's good to have you here. So, I did this little test last night in this room just because I've not done really properly live streams in this room before. Seemed to go okay, so fingers crossed. I hope it will go as well tonight. No, Gerard, I don't look like Roger Moore. I don't even look like Roger Less, to be honest. I could have made an effort, couldn't I? I could have put the old tux on, but not tonight. Sean Connery dissed the Beatles in Goldfinger. He certainly did. It was referring to the temperature at which you drink your Bollinger, was it? Or your Moe? Can't quite remember. So yeah, something a bit different, Michael, to the usual World Cups. And later on, after this is finished, I'm going to try and get some ideas for future World Cups. See what you're interested in, but we'll come to that later. But I want to get into this pretty quickly tonight because there's a lot to go through. So we're going to make a start, folks. We're going to get straight in. As usual, I've done my geeky little Excel spreadsheet, which I will just pull up for you now. I've already done the draw. Now, bit of a technicality here. We need to whittle those 25 movies down to 16 so that we can then do a proper draw. So that means we have got 9 sort of preliminary rounds. 9 preliminary matches. I've done the seedings for these myself. My prerogative as host for the evening, I've decided which Bond films make it through into the first round proper and which ones are going to have to fight through a preliminary round. So that might be controversial in itself, right, to start off with, which ones I've chosen. But actually, let's just briefly discuss which ones have I chosen to put through straight into the sort of the main battle, if you like, without going through a qualifying round. I have chosen Casino Royale, Daniel Craig's first Bond film. I'll talk more about these as we're doing the vote and kind of what I think about them, and we'll find out what you think along the way. I've chosen On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which I know there's a lot of love for, and some people don't like it, but I really do. From Russia with Love, the second film, brilliant. Daniel Craig's second Skyfall is straight through. Dr. No, the original 1962 Dr. No is through. Maybe controversially, I've put The Living Daylights through into the first proper round because I really love that film. And Goldfinger, of course, they're all through. It's not rigged, Gerard. No, why aren't you watching football anyway? 3-0. It's not rigged at all, but I've just decided which ones go through and which ones have to battle through this preliminary round to get us to our 16. So the way this is going to work, you'll see there's a preliminary round. For example, Goldeneye versus Diamonds Are Forever. We're going to kick off within a minute. I will do you a poll that you can vote on. And if the poll's very obviously going one way, I'll cut it really short. If it's really close, I'll give it a bit longer just so that you've got plenty of time to vote. Now, the winner of that, you'll see, goes through to play Casino Royale in the next game. So, yes, George, it's my game, my rules, exactly. So let's hope we don't get folk trying to say, why don't we do this instead? Because we're doing this. And you're more than very welcome to join me on this journey. So, I think we should get straight on with it, shall we? I'm going to put you up a poll in a moment for the first preliminary match, which is going to be Goldeneye versus Diamonds Are Forever. Okay. Now, I am going to be using the sort of internationally recognised initials for Bond films. I'm not going to type out all these film names all the way through. So I am going to type GE for Goldeneye. Oh, flipping heck, end that poll. It's all going wrong, folks. The technicalities are beating me already. Just give us a second. Right, let's start that again. GE for Goldeneye is playing Diamonds Are Forever, which is DAF. Okay, so there's a vote coming through. Now, you can vote for whichever one you wish out of Goldeneye versus Diamonds Are Forever. Has that come through? Yes, it's come through. Okay, so what do we think? Goldeneye. Pierce Brosnan's first movie, first Bond movie anyway. I love that opening scene with the bungee jumping off the top of the dam. That's a great scene. Overall, it's not one of my favourites, to be honest, but I know a lot of people really, really love it. This is a really close poll so far. We've got 53% for Goldeneye and 47% for Diamonds Are Forever at the moment. Diamonds Are Forever is absolutely bonkers. Completely and utterly bonkers. Mr. Kidd and Mr. Wint, what on earth was going on there? And it's really kind of the start of the crazy era for Bond, I think, as far as I'm concerned. I need to look after my voice tonight after that hour and a half that we did last night. So cheers, everybody. It should be a martini, but I'm having a little beer tonight. So it's pretty close, is this one? 55% for Goldeneye so far. I'm going to give it another 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 007, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's end that poll. Okay, so we've got a winner through into the first round proper. Goldeneye got 54% of the vote. Diamonds Are Forever got the remainder. So Diamonds Are Forever is out. I mean, Connery was bored stiff by that point, wasn't he? He'd come back for the money, really, in Diamonds Are Forever. So, yeah, I've got no problem with that result at all. Now, the next one, this is one that almost could have got through on a bye for me to the next round, For Your Eyes Only. I really love For Your Eyes Only. And that's playing against Die Another Day, Pierce Brosnan's last movie. So let's get you a little poll here. For Your Eyes Only. Again, I'm going to use the initials. And that's up against Die Another Day. FYEO versus Dad. So, Sean, you're late, but you're here. We don't need a note for the teacher. You're fine. But thank you for joining. So we've got For Your Eyes Only versus Die Another Day. What do we think here? For Your Eyes Only, I think is Roger Moore's best James Bond film. Obviously, it got a bit crazy before with Moonraker going off into space, and they literally and metaphorically brought it back to Earth with For Your Eyes Only, and I think they did really well. Die Another Day, on the other hand, I think is a dreadful, dreadful movie. It is, for me, it's the absolute worst of the bunch. So I'm really pleased to see that For Your Eyes Only has got 97% of the vote so far. Thank you. It's down to 93, but I think it might be okay here. Richard says there is some fun with Diamonds Are Forever. Absolutely, there is some fun, but it's kind of crazy. What on earth have they just put on this screen kind of fun? But yeah, there is some fun there. I'll tell you what, 92% for Your Eyes Only. We're going to close this poll. There's only one way this is heading. Die Another Day, thankfully, has got battered and it's out. The invisible car has gone. And For Your Eyes Only with that's the one with the ATAC machine, isn't it? Which I just think is a really, really good film. Thankfully, For Your Eyes Only is through into the next round, where it will play either Spectre or A View to a Kill. So this could be an interesting vote. Let's just get you a vote up for this. 1 second, and I'm just going to have a look at some of your comments because it's hard keeping up with comments and doing this at the same time. A View to a Kill, we've got as initials there. So here we go. Here's your vote coming through. Spectre, not my favourite Daniel Craig film, but it's a good film. I like the fact that Blofeld's back. That's good. View to a Kill, Roger Moore's last. He was too old by that point, wasn't he, really? You got Christopher Walken and Grace Jones. They were both interesting, you know, memorable on screen, especially Grace Jones. And we've got quite a close one here. But anyway, I said I was going to look at the comments, didn't I? Die Another Day is awful just for Madonna. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Die Another Day is the worst of the lot. I thought it was okay up until the point where Halle Berry appears. And I'm not blaming Halle Berry. I just think that's the point where the film just goes completely off the boil. Jimmy Nicol says, for next Bond, they need a northern man. Get someone northern in. Someone from Yorkshire. It could have been Sean Bean decades ago, couldn't it, if they hadn't used him already? View to a Kill was a terrible film, says Sean. It's quite close as this, but View to a Kill's just holding its lead on 53% at the moment. Owain says Spectre's your least favourite Bond film. Mike Child loathes Spectre. It's an abysmal film. Interesting. A View to a Kill has a great song, I agree, but a crap movie. Fair enough. I'll take Action Grandpa. Is that what we're calling old Roger? Action Grandpa. I like that name. Way before Spectre. So, okay, this is fairly close, but I'm going to give it another 10 seconds just to make sure you all get your votes in. But View to a Kill has got 55% at the moment. Give it another 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. End the poll. Excuse me. Okay, View to a Kill is through. It's knocked out Spectre by... with 53% of the votes. So, not a great start for Daniel Craig in his first outing in our World Cup. On Her Majesty's Secret Service is already through, so we've got another preliminary round, which is You Only Live Twice versus Quantum of Solace. Yeah, okay. I could have a pretty good guess at which way this one will go, but... it's not for me to assume, is it? Let's have a look. Let me get you You Only Live Twice, Yolt versus Quantum of Solace. QOS. Okay, here we go. There's your poll. I'm kind of expecting You Only Live Twice to win this, but you might surprise me. What film had Little Nelly? Well, it's this one that we're just doing. You Only Live Twice was Little Nelly. There's a bit of a delay on the visual. Yeah, there is. There's nothing I can do about that. That's kind of inbuilt with YouTube. I type it and send it, but it's probably about 15 seconds or so before you hear me say it. So, yeah, the polls might come through before you see me tell you about the poll. Nothing I can do about that. I've seen a few comments about next Bond, like, do I have a personal choice for next Bond? I don't have a personal choice. I mean, I would never have ever guessed Daniel Craig, but I thought he was brilliant. So, you know, I'll let them make that decision. James Bond is a man. That's as much as I'll say, though. Not having any of this Jane Bond nonsense. Let's have another character. Let's have a character that's able to stand on her own without having the name of Bond attached to her. So anyway, how's this poll doing? 75% for the thoroughly bored at that point Sean Connery with his crazy Japanese makeup that just looks like Sean Connery in a kimono. But it's got 75% of the vote. Quantum of Solace struggles. I think that it was caught up in that writer's strike, wasn't it? That Hollywood writer's strike that I think affected it really badly. So I'll just give this another 5 seconds, but this ain't going wrong. This ain't going on any other way. Other than You Only Live Twice has won. Richard, you voted for Quantum of Solace. Both are not the best, but still good. Enjoy them both. That's cool. So let's have You Only Live Twice through to the next round. You Only Live Twice. Liverpool 3, Leeds United 0. Is it still 3-0? I don't know. Anyway, our next matchup in the preliminary round is, and this is a film that again could have got through, but through to the first round proper, but it's got a preliminary round. The Spy Who Loved Me, great film, versus The Man with the Golden Gun. So we've actually got two consecutive movies here, haven't we? Man with the Golden Gun, which was followed by The Spy Who Loved Me. So let me get you a poll ready. Again, let's get these initials right. The Spy Who Loved Me. Yeah, okay. Or, what was the other one? The Man with the Golden Gun. Okay, you've got to decipher. You've got to decipher these initials before you vote here. But that vote is coming through for you for The Spy Who Loved Me versus The Man with the Golden Gun. I know a lot of people will say that you think Spy Who Loved Me is Roger Moore's best Bond film, and I can completely understand why you think that. Certainly got one of the absolute best theme tunes, definitely. And for us Alan Partridge fans, it spawned one of the greatest scenes in comedy history, definitely. And it's doing well. It's got 75% of the vote. The Man with the Golden Gun's a strange one because kind of 80% of that movie is kind of quite serious and a good solid Bond film. And it's got 20% of absolute ridiculousness. And I really wish they hadn't brought Sheriff Pepper back for that because that was beyond ridiculous. William says Aaron Taylor-Johnson, who played Lennon in Nowhere Boy, is your pick. Interesting. I mean, I don't think I've seen him in anything since Nowhere Boy, so I don't know sort of how he's grown up, what he looks like now. But that'd be interesting. I know the guy who played Superman, Henry Cavill. I know he's sort of quite fancied for the role as well, isn't he? How's this poll going anyway? The Spy Who Loved Me has got 71% against The Man with the Golden Gun. I'm not surprised because it is clearly the better film. So I'm just going to give that a few more seconds because most of you have voted now. Thank you very much. 63 of you have voted so far on that, so that's good. Yeah, Christopher Lee gets your vote, Sam. I mean, it was for me, that's a great sort of year or so for Christopher Lee doing Bond and The Wicker Man within like a year of it, which is one of my favourite films of all time. So it's kind of peak Christopher Lee era for me is that. But The Spy Who Loved Me, first appearance by Jaws, that as well, wasn't it? Is through. That's through to the next round. Okay, let's finish off these preliminary rounds. We've got Thunderball versus License to Kill. For anybody who's watching on catch up, Spy Who Loved Me got 71% of the vote there. Jimmy Tarbuck for next Bond. That would be interesting. I'm guessing that won't happen. But anyway, what did we say here? Next one, Thunderball and License to Kill. So we've got TB for Thunderball versus License to Kill. Okay, that'll be on its way through. You can probably see it already because of that time delay. So Thunderball's not one of my favourites, to be honest. I think it's got a really good screenplay. It's got a very good script. I like some of the one-liners in it, and you've got the jetpack. But I think the underwater scenes kind of bore me a little bit. And License to Kill, of the two Timothy Dalton movies, is not my favourite of the two Daltons. I mean, it's much kind of harder-edged film, isn't it? And this is really close, is this one. I saw Thunderball on 51%, and then a second later I saw License to Kill on 53%. So License to Kill has still got 54% of the vote now. So this is pretty close. Let's just give this a little while longer for all your votes to come through. So I really didn't know how this was going to go, like I say, with it being a completely different topic for me. But we've got nearly 90 people here watching, so that's great. Thank you for joining. I didn't know if it'd just be like three of us, and I thought, well, stuff it. If it is three of us, the three of us will enjoy it. But I'm glad to see that actually we've got quite a few people along, which is great. Still 3-0, thank you very much. Right, I'm going to give this 10 more seconds because it is a close one. License to Kill's got 53% of the vote, so if you want Thunderball to win, you better vote for it damn quick because there's 5 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1, and end that poll. So what's gone through there? I think, whoops, hang on a second, someone's been daft, so let's just get rid of you. Bye. License to Kill with 54% has won that one. So it's going through. I'm quite pleased with that because I thought I was kind of on my own in not really liking Thunderball too much, but so I'm quite pleased to see that you've kind of gone with what I would have gone with there. And our next one is Live and Let Die versus Octopussy. So let me just get you a poll ready for this. Live and Let Die, LALD, versus Octopussy, OP. So that's coming through. I'm expecting Live and Let Die to probably win this one. Roger Moore's first. And of course, what a theme tune. Octopussy, I think it's a bit long. You could probably shave half an hour off Octopussy and not really miss out on much. And I tend to find it a bit confusing as well. I'm never quite sure what's happening in Octopussy. It's a bit hard to follow the story, I found. I mean, it's a few years since I've watched it now. So how's it going anyway? Oh, Live and Let Die's got 90% of the vote. So that's good. Faber 16, you've not seen many Bond films, and if you have seen them decades ago, you're watching to see some faves that you might want to watch. Well, that's a great reason to watch. Brilliant. If it gives you some ideas about ones that you've maybe not seen and you see it doing well here, then yeah, hopefully you'll get some good ideas. Well, let's end this one. Actually, David Bell's just said something else. You've got a soft spot for Octopussy. It's the first one you saw at the cinema. Same for me. I remember going with my mum and dad to see this at the cinema when I was, well, what would I have been? I was just into double figures. So, yeah, there's a few of you saying that Octopussy was the first Bond film you saw at the cinema. You're maybe sort of similar age to me, those of you that are saying that. But Live and Let Die has absolutely flown through that. So let's get that into the next round. Okay, well, we've got... I'd like to ask you a favour here, because you're generally beautiful people who join my streams. If you've seen No Time to Die, let's not do the spoilers thing for anybody who hasn't seen it, because there's kind of a big spoiler in this, isn't there? And let's not spoil it if we can. If we can manage that, that would be good. But it is going to be, what is it? No Time to Die versus The World Is Not Enough. Okay, let me get you a poll ready for this. No Time to Die, NTTD, versus Twine. I remember that. I remember that acronym from the internet many moons ago. Okay, so your poll will be through by now for that. So we've got... The World Is Not Enough is an interesting one for me, because although I don't think it's a great movie, I was saying that the first one I saw at the pictures was Octopussy, and I watched James Bond films for many years, but I was never what you'd call a James Bond fan. But it was only when the DVDs got released, which was around the time of The World Is Not Enough, that I kind of thought, oh, I want to get all these. I want to make sure I watch them all multiple times. And I kind of became a fan at that point. And it's really just because DVD got popular at the same time as The World Is Not Enough was out. 99, I think that came out, didn't it? So I've kind of got a soft spot in my heart for that, because that's my introduction to being a Bond fan, rather than somebody who just kind of watched James Bond films from time to time. No Time to Die, I did enjoy it. I mean, it's non-stop, isn't it? Rami Malek's good. Obviously, it's going to be the last Daniel Craig one. And it's a good close battle, is this? Interesting. Yeah, so... It's 51-49. I think we just need to make sure that people have had plenty of time to vote here. Sam, No Time to Die. They did use quite a bit of music from On Her Majesty's Secret Service, didn't they? Which was really nice. I was getting a bit emotional at points early on in that film when there was a few kind of nods to to that film in particular, which was great. So right, I am gonna give this. I'm gonna give it another 15 seconds, because I think we've kind of, most of you who are voting have voted by now. But it's 52% for No Time to Die. If you want The World Is Not Enough to go through, you've only got about 8 seconds left to vote for it. Because I'm going to close this poll very, very shortly. 3, 2, 1, end the poll. That was close. No Time to Die looks to me, we'll wait for the final score to come through, but I think, oh, look at that, No Time to Die, 51%. It must be 51 point something, because The World Is Not Enough is showing us 48, so decimal placeage there, but 51% have gone with No Time to Die. I mean, I presume that's all people who've seen it, unless some of you just hate The World Is Not Enough, so voted against it. Right, our last preliminary round, we're rattling through this tonight, aren't we? Our last preliminary round is Moonraker versus Tomorrow Never Dies. Okay, let me get you a poll ready. So we've got Moonraker, which is MR, versus, I can't even remember what I said now. I can't even remember what I said 5 seconds ago. Tomorrow Never Dies, TND. Okay, that's coming through now. So let's see what happens here. So we've got Moonraker. I think Moonraker has got, personally for me, Roger Moore's best scene as James Bond in it, and that's that centrifuge scene. Whereas G-Force 7 or whatever it is, I think that's a brilliant scene, really tense, really well executed. And it's got the best, I think it's got the best closing line of any Bond film as well, where they're in space, they're floating in the zero gravity, and the video link comes through from M and various other officials, and it's, good God, what's Bond doing? I think he's attempting re-entry, sir. That's just an absolutely classic line. And it's up against Tomorrow Never Dies, which I think is like, it's a fun film. That's the word I associate with Tomorrow Never Dies, is fun. But it's getting trounced by Moonraker. I'm pleased to see Moonraker do well here. That's good. So I don't think there's any way back for Tomorrow Never Dies here. So I'll just give it 10 more seconds just to see how it goes. Tyrone, Liverpool on top form. Is it still 3-0? Is it still 3-0? Let me know. Tomorrow Never Dies is the last classic Bond film, says Danny. Controversial. Tomorrow Never Dies is a good solid Bond movie, yeah, definitely. Right, I'm going to end the poll because this one is all over. 67% for Moonraker. Sean says, Andrew, who would be my favourite Bond girl? Barbara Bach is good in Spy Who Loved Me, and I don't say that just because she was... just because she's married to Ringo. I think Eva Green as Vesper in Casino Royale was really good. I did enjoy their sort of chemistry on screen. But anyway, there we've got Moonraker got 66% of the vote there, 2/3 of the vote pretty much. So that's through. So that's our preliminary round done. Pause for breath. And continue. Right, well done everybody. We got through the preliminary. Can't even say it. We got through that round anyway. We're into the main meat and veg now. So the big boys, the big hitters. Well, as far as I'm concerned, the big hitters join the field now. Christian says Moonraker is Shirley Bassey's worst Bond song, but I love the disco version at the end, over the end credits. That's a great version, far better than the one that's at the beginning. So anyway, we're into kind of round two now with the big hitters coming in. So we have now got Casino Royale, and I am talking here Daniel Craig's Casino Royale. Let me just make that clear. Not that ridiculous one from the 60s. Daniel Craig's Casino Royale versus Goldeneye, Pierce Brosnan's first. So let me get you a poll here for... Casino Royale. Oops, hang on, that didn't work. Casino Royale versus Goldeneye. Interested to see how this one goes. So that poll will be coming through. You'll see that. Thank you, Tyrone. I'm juggling about 50 different things here doing this. Have a breather, says Brian. Thank you. Okay. Cards on the table here. Casino Royale, Daniel Craig is my favourite James Bond film. Absolutely. I absolutely adore it. It is, I think it's the only James Bond film that I would remotely consider, even though it probably still wouldn't get in to my own top 10 favourite movies of all time. The only one. With Goldfinger not far behind it, and that's why Casino Royale, when I've done the draw, I've done the seedings, Casino Royale is seeded number 1, and Goldfinger is right at the other end as number 2. I've kept them apart, but we'll see how you vote anyway. So how's this going? Casino Royale has got 62% of the vote, which I'm very pleased to see. Well, I'd rather it was a little bit more than that, to be honest, but the main thing is I want it to go safely through into the next round. Casino saved the series, says William Forsyth. Die Another Day nearly left it for dead. Yeah, I think it was an interesting period because Die Another Day It was awful. It was frankly awful. But then in that kind of time period, you had the likes of Jason Bourne and Jack Bauer. Have you noticed how a lot of these kind of American action heroes have the initials JB, same as James Bond? Yeah, Jack Bauer and Jason Bourne were doing well, and I don't think you could have carried on Bond the way it was going with the likes of Die Another Day, because it was just getting to look silly compared to a series like 24 and Jack Bauer in it. So they had to reinvent it. Richard says Casino Royale, but shame to see Goldeneye go so early. Both great debuts. Yes, of course, it's battle of the debut movies here, isn't it? Yeah, good shout out there. But Casino Royale is a classic. Dean says it's your favourite Craig film. Daniel says it's all set up for a Casino Royale Goldfinger final. Ooh, I'd love that. Okay, so I'm going to give it another 10 seconds because I think a lot of you have voted already. Minestrone meant to vote for Casino Royale, but you have fat fingers. Well, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. End the poll. End that poll. Have I ended it? Yes, I've ended it. Casino Royale is going through there. What percentage did it get? Let's have a look at the official results. It's not come up yet. 63% of you voted for Casino Royale. That is through to, what will it be? The quarterfinal? Yeah, it's through the quarterfinal. Okay, we've now got, it's a Roger Moore clash. You want more Roger? Well, you're going to get more Roger in this one, because this is For Your Eyes Only versus A View to a Kill. So let's get you a poll going here. For Your Eyes Only versus A View to a Kill. Okay. For Your Eyes Only as also, I mean, these are two solid Bond theme songs as well. But For Your Eyes Only is, I think it's like something like my third favourite James Bond theme. I love Sheena Easton's For Your Eyes Only. Brilliant. And have I seen the theory that Sean Connery in The Rock is playing back from retirement James Bond? I've heard that mentioned, but I've never seen The Rock. So I don't have an opinion on that I can give. So yeah, I have heard it mentioned. And maybe I ought to watch The Rock and see what I think. What's his character name in The Rock? Are you able to tell us that? Tom will be too old, says Richard Z. Which Tom are we talking here about? Is this Tom Hardy? Tom Hiddleston? Oh, shame you would have liked Hiddleston as Bond. Tom Hiddleston. Yeah, a few years ago when he did that The Night Manager series, I immediately thought, he'd be a great Bond. And I thought Hugh Laurie would be a great Bond villain as well. How's this poll going anyway? I am so pleased to see that For Your Eyes Only is sailing through into the next round, because I really do like For Your Eyes Only. Apart from the really weird, I can't remember the character's name now, the young ice skating girl having a crush on Roger Moore, and then like suddenly he finds her in his bed. It's a bit weird, is that? But I'm going to give this 5 more seconds. This is all over. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. End the poll. David, you're saying John Patrick Mason. Is that the name of the character that Connery plays? Is that what you're telling us there? Every role Connery played was as Bond. I liked him in Highlander as Ramirez. Was he Ramirez? Was that his name? The Spanish guy who taught Christopher Lambert to be the only one. That was a good film. I like Sean Connery in that. And of course he was great in Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade as well, wasn't he? But For Your Eyes Only got 85% of the vote there. So it's through to the quarterfinal. Okay, we see a debut now. Entering the competition is On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which is going up against You Only Live Twice. So, I mean, I'm really interested to see how On Her Majesty's Secret Service does here, because it's such a kind of a divisive film. It's got so many big fans of which I class myself as one of them. What's it up against? You Only Live Twice, yeah. Of which I am one of them. Your poll's coming through now. You should be able to see that. So, and again, we're doing consecutive movies here, aren't we? So You Only Live Twice, it was kind of Connery's last. Lazenby comes in, does On Her Majesty's Secret Service before Connery came back again to do Diamonds Are Forever. What do we think of George Lazenby? Let me know in the comments. I mean, he was kind of out of his depth, wasn't he, really? But I like what he did. I enjoy the movie. It's the only one I can say that every time I watch it, I like it more than the previous time. For me, it gets better every time I watch it. I really like it. Sean, yeah, a Spanish guy with a Scottish accent. Yeah, that was Highlander, wasn't it? He just makes no attempt at an accent at all. A bit like Ricky Gervais never does. You get the same voice every time. Her Majesty's a pretty nice film and it has plenty to say. I see what you did there, James. I like that. I think Idris Elba is in the running to be the next Bond. I might be wrong. The only issue I have with Idris Elba is he's too old to start being Bond, because he's about, is he 50 now? Is he 50 roughly? And I don't think you can become Bond at that age. If he's not 50, he's very nearly 50. So the time that was right for him to do it was never really going to happen, because Daniel Craig was, he'd hit the ground running. Diana Rigg in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, rest in peace, died a few months ago, didn't she? Followed by, and Telly Savalas is in there as well, yeah. I can't remember the actress's name who played Irma Bunt. What was her name? But she was quite good as well. George was okay in the role. Would have liked to have seen him in another Bond film. Yeah, it would have been interesting if he'd have done Diamonds Are Forever, for example. I'm pleased to see On Her Majesty's Secret Service doing well here. And he's up against Connery as well. So it's not like, this isn't up in its debut in this competition. It's not up against one of the lesser Bond films, to pick a quote from Alan Partridge. It's up against a Connery big hitter, and it's battering it. So this is good. On Her Majesty's Secret Service, simply because the story is excellent, very true to the book, and the music is superb. I've got the book. To be honest, I've never read it yet. I've got like all the sort of all the original Fleming books. I've got like 1950s or 60s versions of them. I've got a few of them up there. In fact, On Her Majesty's Secret Service is up there as well, and I've never read it yet. I'm going to give this poll 5 seconds because it's about done. There's no coming back for You Only Live Twice. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Michael Cossack, yeah, that's a good point. Lewis Collins as Bond. Think back to him in The Professionals. If Roger Moore had if he'd called it a day after Moonraker, for example, and Lewis Collins had taken over in, say, the very early 80s, that'd have been, I guess he could have been really good. I forgot to end the poll, or I tried to end the poll, but I failed. Liverpool have won 6-0. Is that right? That's amazing. Oh, that's fun. I'm very happy about that. Sorry, that's really tickled me, is that? On Her Majesty's Secret Service has gone through. Brilliant. Right, okay. The next one is Stephen Lewis's Blakey. Would have been an excellent Bond. Well, that would have been interesting, wouldn't it? Sad news on that score. Sad news. Did you see that the actress who played Olive from On the Buses? It was announced today that she died in a house fire. That's not good. That was sad to see. Sean says, is it Cillian Murphy? Is it? I've kind of heard of him. I don't really know who he is, but I've heard people mention him. Yeah, Lewis Collins would have been really good, I think. But anyway, right, the next one is The Spy Who Loved Me. Oops. The Spy Who Loved Me versus, and entering the competition is From Russia with Love. This will be interesting. So we've got The Spy Who Loved Me Let me type that in, and we've got From Russia with Love. Okay, that's coming through for you. The Spy Who Loved Me versus From Russia with Love. The second Bond movie, 1963. I think that is a fantastic film, From Russia with Love. You've got Rosa Klebb. There's real great baddies, isn't there, in that film? Rosa Klebb, Red Grant, played by, what's his name, Robert Shaw. You've got, what's the guy, you've got the chess player as well, haven't you, from the beginning? My mind's gone blank. But, yeah, fantastic film but it's not winning. The Spy Who Loved Me is beating From Russia with Love. Are you kidding me, people? Are you kidding me? I mean, it's up to you. Oh, no, here we go. From Russia with Love and now got 57% of the vote. Natural Order has been restored. But I'm not knocking The Spy Who Loved Me. It's a great film, but I don't see it in the same league as From Russia with Love. Tatiana Romanova. She's a good Bond girl. Somebody was asking earlier about favourite Bond girls. Yeah, she was good in it. 56% for From Russia with Love. From Russia with Love is one of Connery's best. Absolutely, Mike. Definitely. From Russia with Love was losing. It's not now. It's. I'm going to give this another 15 seconds. Just in case there's a load of closet Spy Who Loved Me fans out there who haven't voted yet. So another 10 seconds. I think all the stars from On the Buses are now deceased. Possibly. I'm not sure, but yeah, maybe so. Another 5 seconds. Who sang From Russia with Love? It was Matt Monro. From Russia with Love. End the poll. And end my singing as well. Let's be having none of that. Don't get me started doing that nonsense. Kronstein, thank you, Christian. Yes, the chess player. Goldfinger is better than both. Well, that's I've already expressed my love for Goldfinger, so we'll see how they do if they happen to come up against each other. But From Russia with Love, and also From Russia with 54% of the vote. So the next one up, it's another introduction into the event for Skyfall. The third Daniel Craig movie, and it's up against License to Kill. So let's get you a poll up and running, and then we'll talk a little bit more about these two movies. So we've got Skyfall. What was it up against? License to Kill, was it? Was it? Yeah. My short-term memory is awful. My short-term memory is awful. I'm just joking. Right, okay, let's ask the question. Skyfall, I think, is absolutely superb. I love it. I think for me, it's probably a toss-up, Skyfall or From Russia with Love for my third favourite Bond film. I just think it's absolutely iconic Bond. And what's it up against? License to Kill, was it up against? See, I've forgotten again. Yes, License to Kill it's up against. Yeah, like I said earlier, it's not my favourite of the two Daltons, but it's a good gritty film. And I do like Timothy Dalton as Bond. I thought he was very good in the role. It was just maybe, I don't know whether it was the wrong time period, really. He would have done better in a better era, maybe, rather than the sort of the 80s might not have suited his styles as well as, you know, if Timothy Dalton had been that age 20 years later, I think he might have fitted it a lot better. How's this going? Skyfall's got 60% of the vote, and we already know License to Kill's got some love out there because it got through the first round. Danny says Skyfall is ridiculous. David, yeah, ruined by Home Alone. There is an element of Home Alone, isn't there? I've seen that mentioned before. And it's a bit of a struggle to watch all the scenes at the house at the end without thinking of Home Alone a little bit. But yeah, Mike says Skyfall's a superb movie. Is it a classic Bond? I think it's got a lot of classic elements to it. I think it's really, really, really good film. Skyfall for me was a combination of some brilliant sequences, but it didn't add up as a great film. Sam, okay, fair enough. Okay, I'm going to give this another 10 seconds. So get your votes in, but I think most of you have voted now. We've got over 100 people watching. Thank you very much. Like I said before, I really didn't know whether anybody was going to turn up for this one, with it being so different to what I normally do. So I'm really glad that a lot of you joined us for this. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to give it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. End the poll. So Skyfall has won, which I personally am pleased about. Rambo Last Blood has some elements from elephants. Elephants, good grief. Elements of Home Alone. I haven't seen Last Blood, actually. I haven't seen First Blood for about 35 years. So Skyfall's through with 60% of the vote, which I'm pleased to see. Okay, so we've got another new entry into the competition. The first James Bond film from 1962, Dr. No. And I love that bit of trivia that Dr. No, so James Bond was introduced to the world, well, as in the movie world anyway, on 5th of October 1962, and it was like the same day or within a day of the Beatles releasing Love Me Do, their first single. So the two, like James Bond and the Beatles effectively launched themselves on the same damn day. Incredible. But anyway, I digress, as Ronnie Corbett used to say. Dr. No versus Live and Let Die. Let's get you a poll here. Oops. DN for Dr. No. And again, I've already forgotten what is it up against. I've already forgotten, and I've just said it. Live and Let Die. You don't know what it does to me, doing this. You don't know the strain it puts on me. The poll is coming through anyway. So this will be interesting to see. I do love Dr. No. It was the first James Bond film that I knew. When we first got a video recorder, VHS player in, I think, about 1981 or 2, Dr. No came on telly and we recorded it. It was the first James Bond film probably that I saw before I went to the cinema to see Octopussy. And it was the first one I really knew well. It was the only one we had on video as a kid. And I love it. I think it's weird how it's about 5 minutes from the end, and you think, we're nowhere near the end yet. And then like 5 minutes later, it's done, it's wrapped up, and it's finished. It seems to end so suddenly. But how is it going? Oh, it's getting battered. Okay, fair enough. I'll stop talking about Dr. No then if you don't like it. Dr. No's got 37% of the vote at the moment. 63% for Live and Let Die. Okay, interesting. Oh, so actually we've got here Sean's first versus Roger's first, haven't we? You need to watch Dr. No again, so Sam, you've only seen it a few times. I think it's got so many classic elements in it. I like how when it sort of started coming out on DVD and eventually Blu-ray, and you can see things better. That scene where there's the tarantula crawling up his chest, you can actually see the pane of glass that's separating the two of them, and you can see that the spider's actually walking along a pane of glass, which, you could never tell that on a VHS in 1982. So I don't think there's any way back for Dr. No here. So I'm going to give it another 10 seconds. Rami should have gone down the Dr. No route in No Time to Die. Virtually the same character. Yeah, it's kind of a sort of a very deadpan delivery, isn't it? Yeah, I see where you're coming from with that. Anyway, that's your 10 seconds. 3 blind mice, there they go. 3 blind mice in a row. I do love the soundtrack to Dr. No as well. Jump up. That's in Dr. No. That's great. But Dr. No's been knocked out. I would have voted for Dr. No there. So I'm quite disappointed. I'm not upset. I'm just disappointed. But Live and Let Die is through anyway. Of course, Live and Let Die's got so many classic Bond elements to it. You can't really argue with that. So right, next up again, I'm really interested to see how this does, because I put this through as one of my seeded movies, The Living Daylights, because I really, really love The Living Daylights. It's in my sort of handful. I've got like a handful of about half a dozen like great Bond films that I really love, and that's one of them. So it's The Living Daylights, TLD, versus it was No Time to Die, wasn't it? Yeah, No Time to Die, NTTD. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, No Time to Die obviously came through in the preliminary round, but do you love The Living Daylights like I love The Living Daylights? We'll soon find out whether I'm out on a limb here on my own. I mean, I think one thing with Dalton, he wasn't great at the one-liners. They were a bit clunky. When he says at the beginning when he lands on that boat and it's, I'll be back in an hour. He sees the lady, better make that 2. It's a bit clunky. But I really love the Eastern European flavour of The Living Daylights as well. Whenever a Bond film goes to Eastern Europe, that gets a thumbs up from me. So how's it doing anyway? The Living Daylights has got 59% of the votes. I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to see that there's a lot of love for that. What do we think of is it Miriam Darbo as the Bond girl? She was Cara Miloseva. What's she called? I'm having to drag deep into my brain here. But I thought she was good as a Bond girl. It's a little bit over top 80s in places with some of the villains. The American general kind of guy with his battlefield on a table. He was a bit over the top. But okay, this is The Living Daylights is going to win this. So I'm only going to give it another 10 seconds because this is kind of all over. What's this, Daniel? Future Island Records founder and future Steve Winwood manager Chris Blackwell can be seen in Dr. No during the nightclub scene in the crowd dancing to Jump Up. Well, that's I'm going to give that Fact of the Night award. Brilliant. If anybody can come up with a better fact than that, you can steal the award. But nobody's coming up with a better fact than that. I've not heard that before. So The Living Daylights got 63% of the vote there, which I am delighted about. I'm glad to see that there's a lot of love for The Living Daylights there. So thank you. Right, what have we got next? Oh God, I'm pressing the wrong. Oh, it's all over the place. I'm pressing the wrong hours. Right, our last matchup in this round before I can have another breather is Moonraker, which came through in the preliminary round, versus Goldfinger entering the competition. So Moonraker did well last time. It got a lot of love in the preliminary round. I'm really struggling to say that word today. But can it hold off Goldfinger? Surely not. Surely not. But we'll soon find out. Anyway, that poll should be through with you. Surely Goldfinger's going to win this. It's got to do. Brosnan would have been better in the 80s and Dalton better in the 90s. I like that, Neil. That's a good theory. Well, Brosnan was in line, wasn't he, to take over from Roger Moore, but he was contracted to Remington Steele, so he couldn't do it. George says, you remember that after Duran Duran did their soundtrack, their career fell rapidly. Yeah, let's have a think. So 85, View to a Kill. 86, they had Notorious. In autumn of 86, I remember they had Notorious. So that was a really good song, but then that was kind of it. I don't remember them having any other hits after that until Ordinary World, which was kind of another 6 or 7 years later. Ordinary World was a great song, though. Moonraker is great fun, but it can only be Goldfinger. It is the ultimate Bond movie. I think the tag, the ultimate Bond movie, is, yeah, I think that you could easily apply that to Goldfinger, definitely. Odd Job. I love the golf sequence in Goldfinger. I love the round of golf that they play. and Bond just chucks the gold bar onto the ground to say that that's what we're playing for, and Goldfinger's cheating, and Connery swaps balls. I love that golf scene, really good. Watched Goldfinger on Blu-ray recently. It was a treat. Came up looking fantastic compared to the DVD. Yeah, I've got the full Blu-ray collection of all the movies, and yeah, it does look really good. I went to see it on at the cinema as well. It must have been nearly 10 years ago now, but to see that on the big screen was fantastic. Anyway, how's this poll going? Goldfinger's got. Do you know what I thought? I thought Goldfinger would get more than this. It's got 76%. It's going through to the next round, no doubt about it. I thought Goldfinger would probably rack up 85% or more here, but Ross, Ringo Starr's version of Goldfinger is worth a look after this. Ringo's done Goldfinger, has he? I'm not aware of this. The laser scene is brilliant. Yeah, absolutely, Daniel. Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. That is iconic Bond. Yeah, the laser scene is great. Anyway, let's give this another 10 seconds, which is a bit pointless, really, because nothing's going to happen in those 10 seconds to change this round. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. End that poll. Goldfinger is sailing through. Oddjob was the template for all cinematic heavies in the film franchise. And he was. Somebody tell me if I've got this wrong here. I might have mixed up my trivia facts. But the guy who played Oddjob is the grandfather of, I want to say, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Am I right with that? Have I got that wrong? I think he is. Somebody tell me if I've got that wrong. But I think that's right. Goldfinger's through with 76% of the vote. Sean, what about a top 25 of film tunes for your next stream? Do you mean Bond film tunes, or do you mean just film tunes in general? Let me know what you mean. Jill Masterson painted gold. Yeah, that's another. Is there a more iconic scene in Bond movies than when she's on the bed painted gold? I'm not sure that there is. Right, Goldfinger's through anyway. Right, so we're about to start the quarterfinals. Can I have a moment? Can I have a second? Can I have a second? The Rock's. Oh, sorry. Yes, you're right. I did get. I said I was getting mixed up, didn't I? The Rock's granddad was in You Only Live Twice. Was it the guy that Bond fought in the office where they're sort of whacking chairs over each other? Is that him? And yeah, so I thought I was on the right lines, but something wasn't quite ringing true as 100% right there. Yes, The Rock's grandfather is the dude Connery beats up in Satie's office. Yes, okay. Okay, Herb Alpert with the Tijuana Brass, who did the Casino Royale 67 theme, which I do like that theme. I just don't like the film. He's married to Lanny Hall, who sang Never Say Never Again. Okay, interesting. Okay, right, so we're ready to do the quarterfinals. Come on, we are getting through this. We're doing nice. We're doing nicely. You're hanging on in there well. The first quarterfinal is Casino Royale versus For Your Eyes Only. Now, I've already declared I've already declared my love for both of these movies tonight. Casino Royale especially. So let's see. This will be interesting. Like I say, I still think that For Your Eyes Only is Roger Moore's best, but I'm probably in a minority of thinking that. So, okay, your poll's through. So let's see how you get on with that. Casino Royale versus For Your Eyes Only. Daniel says, Andrew, do you like Only Fools and Horses? Well, that's off topic. If ever I saw an off topic question, I've actually just about 2 or 3 weeks ago finished watching every episode of Only Fools and Horses in order from start to finish, which I started doing just before Christmas because I thought there's probably some that I haven't seen before, and there was 2 or 3 that I hadn't seen before. So I've just finished watching the whole damn thing start to finish. It's one of the greatest shows ever, isn't it? So Casino Royale by roughly a light year, says William. Okay. Not James Bond related, but they're showing The Godfather in IMAX this month for the 50th anniversary. That'd be interesting. How is this going? Oh, Casino Royale is doing very well here. It's got 3/4 of the vote so far. Hi Andrew, sorry you're late, you are forgiven. Thank you for joining us. Hope no one said this, but For Your Eyes Only is great. I've said that. I've said For Your Eyes Only is great. Well, you're just in time for, it's in the poll at the moment, For Your Eyes Only. It's getting battered. I don't think you can turn this round on your own. It's a great grounded Bond film with a mad opening and closing. Yes, we've not talked about the opening of For Your Eyes Only, which we're going to have to do now, otherwise it ain't going to get a chance again because it's getting knocked out. I love the opening to For Your Eyes Only and I love the story behind why they did what they did as well. So obviously you've got Bond goes to Tracy's grave, doesn't he? And that's great, the fact that they acknowledge that he was married to Tracy. And then he gets into the weird helicopter fight with Blofeld, doesn't he? Or, well, they don't name him as Blofeld, but he obviously is. And he drops him down that chimney. It's mental. It's really good, though. But what was the delicatessen line all about? That's ridiculous. And I love the story behind that, why they did it, because they knew that Never Say Never Again was in production, which was... God, it's a long story, this, isn't it? Never Say Never Again was... The rights were owned by a guy called Kevin McClory, who had been involved in Thunderball. Never Say Never Again is essentially a remake of Thunderball, which he was able to do because he had the rights, but they did it under a different name. They knew that Blofeld was going to be in it, so they decided to drop him down a chimney in For Your Eyes Only to try and scupper Never Say Never Again. I absolutely love that story. So anyway, this poll is over. Casino Royale has battered For Your Eyes Only, which is the way that I would have voted for it, but you know, I'm pleased that I've got out there my love for Your Eyes Only, but it's not going to beat Casino Royale, and indeed it hasn't done. So what was the final result? 72% of people voted for Casino Royale. I try and remember to say that because I'm never quite sure whether, if anybody's watching it on catch up, I'm never quite sure whether you can see the poll, even if you're watching the live chat rerun. I'm not sure that it shows you the poll results, so that's why I was trying to say it for the benefit of those people who are watching on catch up. So Casino Royale is through to the semi-final. Yes. But what is going to be joining it? This is a big heavyweight clash coming up, and I really have no idea which way this is going to go. Next up in the quarterfinals, we've got On Her Majesty's Secret Service versus From Russia with Love. This is, I don't envy you lot having to make a decision here. I might just sit back and relax and watch you all sweat here, because these are 2 great Bond movies. So let's see how that goes. I have sent through your poll, which you've probably seen already because of this time difference. I'm forgiven, apparently. I don't know what for, but thank you for forgiving me. If indeed it's me you're forgiving, it might be somebody else in the chat who you've forgiven. I don't know. On Her Majesty's Secret Service, just for the music. Yeah, fantastic music. Was it pretty much the last thing that Louis Armstrong recorded? Was it one of the last things? Can't have been far off. But beautiful music. I love the scenery when they're going up to Blofeld's lair, Telly Savalas' lair up in the mountains. It just looks absolutely gorgeous. 2 of your top 5 against one another, says Sam. On Her Majesty's Secret Service tops it though for you. What did I think of Radiohead's unused song for Spectre? I don't think I've heard it, to be honest. I remember years ago hearing their cover. I think it might have been a live cover of Nobody Does It Better. That was really good. But I don't think I've heard. I presume it's online and maybe I ought to go and check it out. I'm pleased to see there's some love for Diana Rigg in the comments. How's it going anyway? It's fairly close, is this one. 54% of you have gone for On Her Majesty's Secret Service. It's down to 53 now, 47% for From Russia with Love. So at the moment, On Her Majesty's Secret Service is winning, but I'm going to give this a little bit longer to go because it's obviously very close, and this one could flip round. Piz Gloria is a bucket list location to visit. Well, the music for that is the piece of music called Battle for Piz Gloria, I think. That's a really nice piece of music as well, is that one. I really like the soundtrack album for On Her Majesty's Secret Service. This wouldn't have happened to the other guy. Yeah, I mean, that's it. Again, that's kind of a corny line, isn't it? Oh, was it the other fella or something? I quite like it though. It's quite a, it was the first time that it hadn't been Sean Connery, and they just acknowledged it in a fun kind of way. So yeah, that was quite fun. It's 52-48. Always a controversial score in any poll. So let's gonna give Andrew's asking a question. What's the justification for Bond and Blofeld not recognising each other in On Her Majesty's Secret Service? Such a weird choice. Yeah, and it's very odd, and even weirder. I mean, it was just odd that they had a different actor every time playing Blofeld. Did any actor ever play Blofeld twice apart from Christoph Waltz recently? I don't think they did they? Very, very weird. And the fact that at the end of On Her Majesty's Secret Service, Blofeld has Bond's wife killed. And then in Diamonds Are Forever, the next movie, Bond seems just a little bit miffed with Blofeld, and that's about it. And he didn't mention it. It was just weird. Anyway, I think most of you have voted now. I'm going to give you another 10 seconds to get your final votes in, because this is really close. 52% of you for On Her Majesty's Secret Service. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. End the poll. The Radiohead Spectre theme is way superior to Sam Smith's, in your humble opinion. Well, I mean, it couldn't be any worse, could it? I did do a James Bond theme song ranking video, and I'm pretty sure I put Sam Smith in last place, because I just think everything he touches is awful music, basically. Wow, that was close. So the final result is, and again, there must be some decimal placeage going on here, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, 51%. It says 48 for From Russia with Love, so there must have been a little bit of decimal place going on there. Brilliant. That was good. That was nice and close. But On Her Majesty's Secret Service, that was a battle. That has knocked out a big hitter in From Russia with Love. That's well played. That's going to be a good semi-final, is that one. Okay, we've now got our next quarter-final is Skyfall versus Live and Let Die. So let me get you a little poll for Skyfall versus Live and Let Die, which is coming through now. So we'll see how that goes. Skyfall and Live and Let Die. I mean, personally, I would vote for Skyfall here, because I've already said I think it's a wonderful film. Live and Let Die is great, of course it is. Baron Samedi. It's got a ridiculous death at the end with Mr. Big when the air capsule and he just ends up completely round and explodes. Absolutely ridiculous. But there's so many great scenes. The alligator scene. It is alligators, not crocodiles, isn't it? I always get them the two mixed up. Where he runs across those. I mean, that is. I mean, obviously, really, it's a proper stunt as well. There's no CGI there. That actually happened. Fantastic. So how's this poll going anyway? It's fairly close. Puck and Rop says Skyfall, hands down, incredible movie. I absolutely agree with you there. But it's losing. At the moment, we've got 56% for Live and Let Die. So if Skyfall's going to go through, then some people are going to have to suddenly appear and vote for it, because at the moment it's getting knocked out. In the book On Her Majesty's Secret Service, Bond and Blofeld had not met. Right, okay. But in the film, 007 was going to have face surgery to disguise himself. Right, okay, yeah. I guess as well, yeah, you're trying to adapt books, but you're not doing them in the same order. And so do you stay faithful to the book and the film looks wrong, or do you make the films faithful to the other films and then it moves away from the book? It's difficult. If they'd have done things in order, the movies, then maybe it might have all made a little bit more sense. So wow, I'm kind of upset that Skyfall looks like it's getting dumped out here. Live and Let Die was a favourite as a kid, but it might be the most dated film in the series. Oh yeah, definitely. The last time I watched it, I remember thinking on a few occasions, this is one of those that the way the world's going, you could see some TV stations refusing to show it eventually, because there's some stuff that you certainly wouldn't put in a movie nowadays. Okay, I'm going to give this another 15 seconds, but I don't think there's any way back for Skyfall here. When the Skyfall. I'm not an Adele fan either, but I think it's a good Bond theme tune. I don't really know any of her other songs, to be honest. Only that cover of the Dylan song that she did. I don't think I could name another song of hers. 5 seconds to go. 4, 3, 2, 1. End the poll. Well, Sun Dodger, you've just realised we're doing the films. You thought we were doing the theme songs. No, this is the films we're doing here. This is the World Cup of James Bond movies. You think people are voting with their McCartney heads on? Possibly. Yeah. If anybody out there was thinking of it as McCartney versus Adele, that could explain why my viewers have gone for Live and Let Die. But anyway, I'm just going to take a moment to... I even started typing Skyfall there. That's how much I wanted it to go through. I'm going to take a moment to say how upset I am that Skyfall has been knocked out. I'm not happy. But anyway, let's carry on. Let's carry on into the last of the quarterfinals, which is the Living Daylights versus Goldfinger. Living Daylights versus Goldfinger. So Living Daylights has done well so far. It did very well in the last round. And we saw that there was a lot of love for it. I can't do it until I've ended the last poll, can I? I forgot to end it. But Live and Let Die has definitely won it. So I'm going to do... Live and Let Die got 56% of the vote there. So your next one, the final quarterfinal, is going to be The Living Daylights versus Goldfinger. Okay, let's see how this one goes. I mean, I'd be amazed if Goldfinger doesn't win this, but and again for me, we're not voting for the theme songs here. But if I can just talk about the theme songs for a second, two of my absolute favourites. That video that I said I did ranking the Bond theme tunes, Goldfinger was my number one. I can't remember where I put the Living Daylights, but I'm sure it would have been top 5. Because I really liked a-ha back in the mid-80s. I thought things like Take On Me and The Sun Always Shines on TV, fantastic pop songs, still sound great today. And The Living Daylights came along and I loved that as well. You people are crazy. Why might that be? Is that because we've got rid of Skyfall? If that's why you're saying we're crazy, then I agree. Alice Cooper recorded the far superior but unfortunately rejected Man with the Golden Gun James Bond theme song. I honestly don't think I've heard that either. Which actually brings me back to the point somebody said earlier, and I questioned it. And if the answer did come through, I apologise, I didn't see it. Somebody said that Ringo had done a cover of Goldfinger. Is that right? Is that true? So anyway, how's this going? Goldfinger has got 76% of the vote at the moment. I don't think there's any surprise here. As much as I love The Living Daylights, it's no surprise that Goldfinger is going to beat it. It would have been astonishing had it gone the other way. So let's just give this another 10 seconds because this is kind of all over, is this particular match. A wee link for later, says Ross. Do you want? Is that a link you want for my Bond theme tune rankings? Is that what you're after? Just confirm. Just say yes, Ross, if that's what you mean. And if so, I'll get it back for you. I'll get you a link. Anyway, I'm going to end the poll. Goldfinger's sailed through there with 3/4 of the vote. We'll see whether that's exactly right when the final results come through. But it was about that. Yes, we're crazy for voting out Skyfall. Yeah. You saw my disappointment, didn't you? You know I'm with you on that one. Yeah, 75% went for Goldfinger. I think there's a lot of my favourites have gone out in that round. The Living Daylights has gone out, but understandably. Skyfall went out, which I've said is I'm not happy with. From Russia with Love has gone out, beaten by a great film. For Your Eyes Only. The 4 that have gone out there, For Your Eyes Only, From Russia with Love, Skyfall and Living Daylights are 4 of my favourite Bond movies. But they're not in my top 2. My top 2 are both still in. Skyfall losing to Live and Let Die is like Imagine losing to the Ringo album. Yeah, I'll go with that. The Ringo sketch, said Ross. Okay. Yeah, if you've left a link, I go back because I miss a lot of your comments while I'm doing this because I'm just too busy focusing on things. I do always go back and read them afterwards. So if any of you have sent me a link to something and I've missed it, I will see it later on, or it might be tomorrow, for example. But I will go through it and see it. So we're into the semi-final. Let's just take a moment to think about what we've got in the semi-final before we actually do it. We're gonna have. Can we go to VAR for the Skyfall result? We can't. It wasn't close enough, I'm afraid. The semi-finals are going to be Casino Royale versus On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Live and Let Die, which how on earth has Live and Let Die got to the semi-final? I have no idea. Unless it's like somebody said, you've all got your McCartney heads on. Live and Let Die versus Goldfinger. I would never have predicted that Live and Let Die would get to the semi-final. But anyway, right, so, Daniel, my dear girl, there are some things you don't do, such as drinking Dom Perignon 53 above the temperature of 38 degrees Fahrenheit. It's like listening to the Beatles without earmuffs. And then he got bashed on the back, didn't he, just after he said that? Maybe it was Ringo who came in and bashed him on the back. Is that what you're talking about? Is this the Ringo? Have I guessed what the Ringo sketch is that people are talking about? Anyway, Peter Serafinovich, he's good. He did the sketch about John Lennon inventing the iPod as well, didn't he? Which was good. You'll definitely watch Skyfall. Well, I'll tell you what, Faber 16, if I could give you a recommendation, the Daniel Craig movies, watch them in order. Because it's very much a reboot of the series. He becomes 007 License to Kill in Casino Royale. Quantum of Solace, despite being a very poor Bond film, is just about, at the time, it was certainly the closest thing I think that there'd ever been to a sequel in a Bond film. So it's kind of important that you watch that, I think, even though it's not the greatest, but it's still worth watching. Then Skyfall comes, and it kind of breaks the story that's been told in the first two a little bit, but there's a little bit of a link to it. But I would watch them in order, definitely. The Daniel Craig films, don't watch them out of order. So anyway, a little bit of a digression there. We're going to go to the semi-finals now. Casino Royale versus On Her Majesty's Secret Service. So I'm going to get you a poll for this one. Very interested to see how this goes. Both films that I love. I've already gone on record as saying that Casino Royale is my number one Bond film. Your poll is coming through now anyway. And it's up against On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which I've already said every time I watch it, it gets better than the previous time for me. So your poll should be with you by now. Bruce, you're going to be right. You're certainly going to be right one time. Eventually you will be right with your predictions about the Paul McCartney archive collections. Brian says, Andrew, what was the first 007 movie you saw in the cinema? I mentioned about half an hour ago that Octopussy was the first one that I saw, where my mum and dad took me, and then A View to a Kill being next. I was old enough to go with my friends then, and we had a Friday night out, me and a bunch of mates, to see A View to a Kill. I don't think I went to see either of the Daltons at the cinema. The next one that I went to see at the cinema was Goldeneye. Faber 16, thanks for the Craig watching tip. Yeah, I think I just think they are quite a continuous story right through to No Time to Die. They all link together, and I would say watch them in the right order. How's this poll going anyway? Casino Royale's got 64% of the votes. Okay, there's no doubt that there's a lot of love in the room for On Her Majesty's Secret Service. But it's up against a massive hitter here. Andrew Galvin, Casino Royale is number one for you too. You're very up for Martin Campbell doing a third reboot next, please. Yeah, okay. I just can't even fathom what they're going to do next. But like I said before, let's not spoil anything for anybody who hasn't seen No Time to Die. But hi Graham, who will be the next Bond? I really don't know, and if I picked, I'd probably pick really badly. So I think they made such a good choice with Daniel Craig, despite all the criticism they got at the time, because the press really savaged that decision. But it was a brilliant appointment of Daniel Craig, so I trust them to get it right again next time. It might be somebody I've never heard of. I don't know. Casino Royale is going through to the final here. Wow. Which I'm really glad about. It's what I hoped would happen, but you never know with these things. I hoped Skyfall would be in the semi-final, but it isn't. I'm not bitter, not upset. I'm going to give you another 10 seconds on this because this is just about all over as a semi-final. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Yeah. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. End poll. Kev, I'm going to come to your comment in a second because there's something very interesting there. Yeah, Casino Royale's won that, but there's a comment here. What was it? I think the reboot should bring Bond back to the 60s. I've said for a long time that what I would really love to see happen is actually do a Bond reboot, but do it and go back to that Cold War period of the 50s and do it as a period thing. Now, I would really love to see that. I'd love to see some of those and actually have them as kind of more faithful versions of the book. So if you take something like Moonraker, Live and Let Die, those kind of things, they're very different movies, very different to the books. But I'd love to see a period drama of set in the 50s of those books. I think that would be really good. Tom Hardy is the next Bond. Yeah, I'm aware of who he is, but this is how out of touch I am. I honestly don't think I've ever seen anything that he's ever been in. I don't think I've ever seen any TV show or movie that Tom Hardy has ever been in. So I'm not really one to be able to give a kind of opinion on Tom Hardy, to be honest. But anyway, before I forget, I'm going to put Casino Royale into the final because it won that poll with... what percentage did it get? It's disappeared off my screen now. Casino Royale got 62% of the vote. How about David Tennant for next Bond? I can't see that, to be honest, Sean. David Tennant's great. When he did the... when he did that, what was the serial killer thing that he did last year? I thought he was fantastic in that. I can't see him as Bond though. But anyway, Casino Royale is into the final. But who's it going to play? It's going to play either inexplicably Live and Let Die, I'm not letting this go, or Goldfinger. So I hope this goes the right way. This one, I'm gonna create you a poll which I will send through shortly. So it's Live and Let Die versus Goldfinger in your other semi-final. Okay, so that's through for you now. Let's see how you get on with that one. Daniel, I presume when you say really you haven't seen Venom, is that a response to my I haven't seen anything with Tom Hardy in? I'm pretty sure at one point I went through his page on IMDb and looked at everything he'd been in, and I couldn't see a single thing that I would have seen with him in. David Tennant's Des Nielsen, that was it. Dennis Nielsen. He was superb. And when you saw the tapes of Dennis Nielsen, the actual Dennis Nielsen, compared to how David Tennant played, it's just unreal. I mean, David Tennant maybe could be a baddie. Quentin Tarantino directing Bond, that would be quite a thing, wouldn't it? I mean, there's various Tarantino films would be contenders for my top 10 movies of all time. I just can't imagine him doing a Bond, but I know he wanted to. Live and Let Die, 32%, Goldfinger 68%. See, Goldfinger's doing well. It's going through to the final, as pretty much anybody could have predicted. But it's not had one of those big 90-odd% victories like I thought it might have done at some point. It's kind of been getting 2/3 of the vote and going through like that. Goldfinger just for the pre-title sequence alone. Yeah, that's so... he's swimming, isn't he? Comes out of the water. He's got the duck on his head. Takes the wetsuit off, and he's got a nice white dinner jacket on. That's where he has the fight with the guy. Well, it's not much of a fight, is it? Puts him into the bath and throws the fan in there. Shocking, positively shocking. Yeah, good opening sequence. Anyway. Let's get back to the semi-final. Goldfinger versus Live and Let Die. Goldfinger's got 70% of the vote. So I'm going to give it 10 seconds, but that one's all over, is that? Tom Hardy's great in The Dark Knight. I can't even remember if I've seen The Dark Knight. I saw a couple of those. That particular reboot of Batman, I saw the first couple. Was Dark Knight the third one? I'm not even sure if I got as far as seeing that. I can't remember. I've ended that poll, folks, as I said I was going to do. And Goldfinger is into the final. So Goldfinger gets 69% of the vote. So, like I said at the start, I did the draw for this, and I did the seedings for it. I thought that's my prerogative as host. And I seeded Casino Royale and Goldfinger as seeds 1 and 2. So they were at opposite ends of the draw. So I was really interested to see if they would make it through. And they have done. Our final is Casino Royale versus Goldfinger. Very interesting. Okay. I'd love to see how this goes. I think the best two films are there. I personally now really don't mind what wins, because I think there's a great case to argue for either of them. I did rank Casino Royale as my number 1 Bond film, but it was so close. And on another day, I could have gone with Goldfinger, because it is, if somebody, let's say somebody's been out in outer space for the last 60 years and they've never seen a Bond movie, and say, what's this Bond thing about? Give us one film to watch. Well, it'd be one of these two, but it would probably be Goldfinger I would give them. But I think Casino Royale's my favourite. Andrew, if you had the opportunity to take this poll in the 60s, the net, if it existed, would have melted. Well, it'd be nice to think I could have generated a bit of attention, but it would have been interesting then to see how those movies would have gone down. So anyway, I think now's your chance. I can also already see Tonto pitching for Casino Royale there. I think if you were a politician trying to get somebody to vote your way, now's your chance to state your case in the comments for why you think people should vote the way that you're going to vote. So I'll let you have a minute or so to do that before I put this poll in. Let's have some comments from people about why you think people should vote for Casino Royale or vote for Goldfinger. Let's have it. And let's see if you can persuade people. Well, I just rest my voice for a second. How are we doing for time? No, I decided I was going to rattle through this. Still taking an hour and a half. So it's a good job I did rattle through it, and I think I've fairly rattled. I'm feeling fairly rattled. So you've got all your pictures coming in for why you think people should vote your way, which is great. So while you're finishing off doing that, I'm going to create your poll for the final. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the final of the World Cup of James Bond movies. Casino Royale, starring Daniel Craig, versus Goldfinger, Sean Connery. That's just reminded me of something actually saying that, which I'm going to tell you about when the poll goes live. I'm going to tell you about something. It's another YouTube channel that I'm going to promote. Not me, it's somebody else. Let's do this. Right, so we have got, as soon as it's the final, let's type it out in full. Let's give them their full names. Versus Goldfinger. Okay, your poll should be through by now, so that you can vote for which of these two are we crowning as the winner of the James Bond World Cup. Has anybody bettered Oddjob? No. James Bond battered Oddjob. Or no, he got him electrocuted, didn't he? Oddjob's fantastic. I think he's really great. So there's a YouTube channel, and I'm just gonna find out what it's called for you. It's something like Shan Watches Movies, SHAN, and he's a guy who's never really seen a James Bond film before, and he's done this series over the last few months where he's watched them all in order, doing reaction videos. Which I love reaction videos. Most of what I watch on YouTube is reaction videos, watching people react to things. Shan, SHAN, watches movies. He does other things as well other than Bond, but he's currently, what was the last one that he did? He's just done The Living Daylights. So he's doing from Dr. No right through to No Time to Die in order. He's never seen any of them before, and he's done as far as The Living Daylights. I've really been enjoying watching his series. And he comes up with some really good sort of thoughts on the films as he's watching them. So I would recommend that. Not now, because we're doing this. But let me have a look at how this poll's going. It's not close. I love a close final. And this is not a close final. Goldfinger has got 63% at the moment to Casino Royale's 37%. Do you know, I said I wouldn't mind how the result went, but I would at least have liked it to have been close. Goldfinger's fantastic. Of course it's fantastic. There's just so many iconic scenes in it. I love this scene where near the start when we're first introduced to Auric Goldfinger and he's playing cards by the side of the pool in Miami. And Jill Masterson's been looking through binoculars, haven't she, at his opponent's cards. And he's got like a little ticker thing on the back of his leg that's sort of that she's sending messages to him. That's fantastic. We mentioned the laser scene. That's brilliant. But what about Casino Royale? That sort of free running intro at the beginning, that is awesome. The card games, the tension that it builds. The poison one of Bond's drinks, Le Chiffre does, and he has to go out to his car. They get that defibrillator that's monitored remotely, manages to come back to life. Goes back to the table. The chief expects him to be dead, and he's there. He's like, "I'm sorry, that last hand, it nearly killed me." great line. It's just a wonderful film, but it ain't winning this, folks. It's not winning this. I'm going to give this another 15 seconds, but I think we have our winner of the James Bond. What is it? The World Cup of James Bond movies. I'm forgetting what the title of this thing is now. Another 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. End the poll. We have a winner, which I'll come to in a moment. But I'd just like to echo what Brian's saying there. Would just urge people to try one or two of the Fleming novels. You may be surprised at how different they are from the movies. Very different. Both formats are great. Absolutely. I've still got a few left to read. I've read quite a lot of them. I love, for example, From Russia with Love with Red Grant, the fact that his maniacal tendencies, we find out, are caused by the full moon. He's like a werewolf, is this guy. And you've got Dr. No, the way that he gets killed, he gets drowned in bird crap. Who'd have guessed that was going to happen? Guano, he gets buried in it. Amazing. But anyway, folks, the final result there was 59% of you voted for Goldfinger, and that is going into the final box as the winner of my World Cup of James Bond movies. Goldfinger has beaten Casino Royale in the final. I'm glad that was the final pairing. Anyway, those two. I really enjoyed that. Interesting. Not gone my way, says Tyrone. Oh, well, at least Liverpool won. I need to go and watch that now. I need to go and watch the Liverpool game. But that was a lot of fun. I mean, I said that we were going to have a bit of a chat about what other World Cups I might do next, because this one came about as a result of a chat on the last World Cup that I did, which was kind of a World Cup of non-Beatles related bands and artists that I picked. And we kind of decided that the next one would be the World Cup of James Bond movies. I've had some really good suggestions for World Cups that I would love to do, but unfortunately some of them are just so niche that none of you would be interested in watching. So let's have a McCartney solo World Cup next, says Faber. I've not done a McCartney World Cup for a long time, so that could be a good idea. What are you thinking? All McCartney solo albums from McCartney right through to McCartney 3, every single one. That could be fun. I like the sound of that. Does anybody got any advance on a McCartney solo albums World Cup? XTC. Now you see, I'm not the person for that. I could name one XTC song, and that's Sensors Working Overtime. Oh no, Making Plans for Nigel, of course. I'm not the right person to do that. You know, if there's anybody out there who wants to do their own World Cup, you know, I don't have any copyright on this. So if anybody wants to do that, then please go ahead, but I'm not the person for that. Yeah, World Cup of Beatles-related books, perhaps. Interesting. It would be it'd be interesting to see what would get picked there. How would we decide what to pick for that? The thing I like with doing albums or doing Bond movies, for example, is you've got a very definite list to pick from. I like those kind of things where it's definitely that is the list there that you've got. The Connery and Moore films had more charm, for lack of a better word, and you prefer the old feel to today's technology. Fair enough, Michael. Okay. A best of 1990s albums World Cup says, oh, hi Scally, you'll be happy tonight, won't you? I bet you'll be happy. Bond Girls World Cup, interesting. Quo. Yeah, I don't know if I could get excited enough about a Quo World Cup, as much as they made some great songs. World Cup of Front. I like that. World Cup of Frontmen. So you'd have, I mean, who would you have there? You'd have Freddie, Mick Jagger, Robert Plant. Who else would you have? There'd be a few others, wouldn't there? I'd have to have a think about that. Queen Albums World Cup. Well, actually, Izzy, let me just say, I did a I did a poll on Twitter a little while back for the next. Some of you might have seen in the past, I've done a thing called Pick of My Pops, which is where I do not a live stream, but I do a pre-recorded video where I do like my top 20 or 30 songs by a particular band or artist. And Queen won the last poll. So one of my next videos, I don't know exactly when, but it'll be soon. It's like I've only got, it's in the top 2 or 3 of the next ones for me to make, is a Pick of My Pops top Queen songs. Did I just see Bob Dylan mentioned there? I think it's just disappeared off the screen. I did see Bob Dylan mentioned, but I can't find it now. Was it a Dylan Albums World Cup? Oh, here we go. Yeah, Mark. Hi, Andrew. Would you ever do a Bob Dylan World Cup? Yeah, I'd do a Bob Dylan World Cup, definitely. I'd have a think about that one. I saw Noddy Holder mentioned. Interesting. Did any of you see on Twitter today somebody, and I can only assume that she's either Noddy Holder's daughter or wife, I think daughter, but I could be wrong on that, posted a photograph that was taken today of Noddy Holder and Dave Hill together, arms round each other. So they've been together today. I wonder if they've been discussing doing anything. World Cup of Oasis. Again, I would love to do an Oasis World Cup. I don't know how many people would be interested in it, but I'd be well up for that. Yeah, a lot of people have mentioned Britpop World Cup, and I would love to do a Britpop World Cup. I don't know how many people would be interested in it, but I could be wrong. What I might well do is I'm probably going to take, like I said before, I do reread these comments just to make sure I'm taking everything in. I'll make a list of the most popular suggestions. I will probably do a poll, and it will most likely be on Twitter to vote for what to do next. So I think that's probably what will happen. But if you get your suggestions in the comments, and then I will do a poll, and it will be, where's there? If any of you are on Twitter, that's where these polls will be that I sometimes do to say, what will the next World Cup be? What will the next Pick of My Pops be? That's kind of where I do that. Michael, yes, you're a huge Slade fan. Got to check that out. Well, if you, what was the lady's name? I liked the tweet on earlier. So if you were to look at my liked tweets, it will be in there from today. And it's a photograph today of Noddy Holder and Dave Hill. World Cup of Best Years for Music from 70 to 2000. Blimey. That would be a thing, wouldn't it, Sean? I mean, how do you police such a thing? I mean, if I'm doing commentary on it, I'd have to get the years right in my head for the start. That would be interesting. World Cup of Beatles and solo Beatles box sets. Yeah, a box set one would be interesting. Why no Football World Cup? Well, the football takes care of that themselves. They don't need me to do a World Cup for them. They're doing one in December, which is ridiculous, can I add? Football World Cup in December is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. World Cup final, is it something like 3 days before Christmas? Absolutely stupid. Anyway, let's not get into that. A greatest Beatles song, World Cup, interesting. Soap operas, well, I'm already declaring Coronation Street the winner there. It's no contest. Oasis versus Blur World Cup. Yeah, interesting. Well, thank you. I'm gonna reread those, like I say, and I'm gonna make a list of the ones that I think I can feasibly do, because some of them are ones that, like the XTC one, it's a great idea, but I'm probably not the right person to do it. You recommending an early Pink Floyd demo of a song called Double O Bow. Okay, don't know that one. But you've actually just reminded me there, for anybody who was on my live stream last night, which was a test in this room, I was racking my brains about what the heck was this piece of vinyl that I'd bought last week, and I couldn't remember. It cropped up a couple of times, and I remembered afterwards. Of course, when the camera stops, I remember everything. It was The Piper at the Gates of Dawn. So what happened was that some of you will have seen that they're reissuing the mono version that comes out in a couple of weeks. So I was thinking of getting it. I'd kind of decided I was going to get it. But just before I ordered it, I thought, right, well, I'm going to listen to the album in stereo and mono because I've got a CD that's got both on. And I thought, you know what? I really like the stereo of this more. So I bought it came out about 3 or 4 years ago, and it's the Bernie Grundman remastered Piper at the Gates of Dawn stereo. That's what I bought. And Michael, you've just seen the photo of Noddy and Dave. Maybe they reunite for Glastonbury. Well, they're not going to get the Legends slot, are they? Because is it Diana Ross that's got the Legends slot on the Sunday? I don't know, but it'd be interesting. It's definitely setting in, Jimmy. I can only think of things once the cameras stop rolling, definitely. Anything Beach Boys also, yeah, you're off to watch The Long Promised Road now. Fantastic. But anyway, folks, I'm going to say thank you very, very much for joining in this James Bond World Cup, because I didn't know how many people would, but I was really pleased that a lot of you joined in with that. I hope you've enjoyed it. I really did. Congratulations to Goldfinger that won. And but I am now going to sign off for the night. I will be back. I'm going to pre-record some videos and get those out to you very soon. And I'll start thinking about which World Cups to do next and which other live streams to do next. But I am now signing off. I'm going to say thank you very much. You've all been awesome as always. And I'll see you later. Cheers, guys and girls. Bye-bye.